Hello guys. This week for the COVID project, your assignment is going to be to predict the cumulative COVID cases worldwide that are going to be there on May 1st. I said that poorly, but basically, how many worldwide cases do you think there'll be by May 1st of COVID? So this is total worldwide cases by May 1st. And the second is to predict for May 1st what the cumulative cases of COVID for the United States will be on May 1st. And to sweeten the pot a bit, I will send a $5 gift card to the person who is closest for the world and the person who's closest for the US. So I'm thinking Dairy Queen or Starbucks or something along those lines. So here we go. I want to give you a little info on the website we're using and kind of break down what these mean. I would encourage you actually to pause the video and just look at the website yourself and try to figure it out before you watch this. Now, one thing that I want to point out is that the X or the Y-axis here is different in each case. So you can see worldwide, this is 1,000. This is 1,200K. What that really means is 1,200,000. Okay, so that's 1.2 million. That's what that is. You'll notice here at China, it's 90K, 90,000. When I look at Italy, it's 140,000 and so on. So you'll notice that's different. Also, you'll notice the x-axis down here is going to be different. January 23rd through April 4th worldwide. China, January 23rd to April 4th. Italy, January 23rd. Oh, maybe they're all January 23rd. Looks like it. Okay, never mind. Ignore that last 20 seconds. So, what does the graph mean? Well, you can see here that it's highlighting new cases in this light blue, previous cases in the darker blue, and the deaths in the red. And we are going to look at total cases, which ends up being the combined bar of new cases and previous cases. And so you can see here for the world, we have not much happening here at first, and then here, the middle of March, when we went home from spring break, things really started to take off worldwide, and you can see they're going here. Now down here are the new cases each day, and so I want you to notice those as well. And so we've got total cases graph looks like this. New cases is going like this. Now, I hope this makes sense to you, but each of these new cases are stacked on top of each other. So the very first day, and you won't be able to see it, but the new case, I don't know if it was here or here, but basically there were no previous cases, so the stack was completely light blue. The next day we have light blue, and then you can't see it, and it's just, again, the graph and the graphic. But eventually you see here where we have the old cases and the new cases. So all of the new cases back here stacked on top of each other make this darker colored blue. And so each day we add just a teeny bit of new cases, but the accumulation starts to happen. Teeny bit of new cases, but it adds on to all of the old cases. So each day this blue case is the previous cases, so all of the previous cases. I think that's clear. Make sure you understand where that's coming from. You'll notice as we stack them up, this is called exponential growth, at least for a while. We hope that it doesn't continue growing exponentially, because then we're really in trouble if it keeps growing exponentially. At some point, they expect it to taper off and to not be an exponential growth anymore. The question is, when will that happen? One thing that we're going to look at is how the new cases impact the cumulative or the total cases. You see here worldwide, new cases tend to be growing. Since it's Saturday, I don't think they have all their numbers in. I think that's why it's dropped a little bit lower there. So that is the worldwide case. And if you look at the graphs of the other countries, with the exception of China, Italy has a similar picture, US has a similar picture, New York has a similar picture, Illinois has a similar picture, and even Kankakee County, maybe. It's not, we don't have quite this tail here, but it's taking off. But if you look at China, something's interesting is China has tailed off, and they're showing no new cases, or very few new cases. Now, some people predict that's not actually true. I'll leave the politics and reality to other people. I just want to talk about the math. But what I want to point out is China, if you look at the first few months, they actually had a similar graph as well. You see the exponential growth, and you see that the new cases was growing as well. But with China, you'll see that eventually the new cases stopped growing and started tailing off. And when it started tailing off, with the exception of these 2 random days here, it really tailed off to eventually nothing. And you can see what that does to this curve is it changes it. So it would be more like this. Now, I said I was going to leave the politics and reality to others, but I can't resist. I really don't think China's reporting all their numbers to be going like this and then so quickly to tail off. I don't think is realistic. I think it's going to take a while to go up, and then it'll level off for a while, then it'll take a while to drop. Although China did lock down, and really, really locked down hard, and so it's possible that that's the reality. All right, so I show you this because I want to give you a little more information so that you're able to predict. You're able to use any resources you have right now to predict. There's really nothing on there. There are some math tools that you could use if you're familiar with them. I'm not going to teach you those this week. That'll be next week's lesson. I do want to take a look at Italy. You can see Italy here. You can see Italy is similar here. You can see the exponential growth, but it seems like that exponential growth is stopped. If it was really exponential, it would keep going up like this here, and that's not happening. And it seems like it's really more linear here. It's a straight line. And then it almost appears like it's starting to tail off, and we really hope that it is tailing off here. Now, it's a little hard to say. It could just be tailing off slowly. We don't really know exactly what's going to happen there. But if you look at Italy's new case numbers, you see we have this general linear incline, and now it really seems like it's kind of is tapering off here of new cases. So we hope that for Italy that those start to drop. Let's take a look at the U.S. You can see we're a little bit behind Italy as far as days. You see again we have this exponential curve, and then again like Italy. Okay, I'm going to slow down here. Try to draw this nicely. So we have the exponential curve here. And then in this range, it really seems to be shooting up quite a bit. And we're hoping this doesn't keep growing linearly or exponentially, because it's going to be really bad if it does. Hopefully it's more linear and then tailing off into another curve eventually, okay? But what I'd like to point out and help you focus in on is the new cases. You see our new cases are increasing. Again, I think Saturday, this April 4th, is not a complete number there. It's a little scary because if you look at Italy, that increase stopped on a March 21st. And you can see how much the curve is still growing. For us, it seems like our numbers are still increasing. So the question is, when is this going to stop increasing? And when it does, how long is it going to take to level off and then to start to decrease? Lots of questions. Nobody has answers. Only God really knows what's going to happen. Let's take a quick look at New York. We hear a lot about New York and how their cases are taking off. You see a similar graph of the U.S. It's really, the shape matches the U.S. The difference would be over here, right? 120,000 instead of 300,000. And again, you see the linear shape. I say linear, but I draw an exponential curve. So the exponential curve here, and then you see, I would call this more linear. If this was exponential, I'm familiar with exponential functions, this would be getting steeper and steeper. So I really say it has changed from exponential growth here to linear, which is really good. Exponential takes off. Linear at least is leveling off and not getting steeper. The question is, when will it level out? Again, if we look at our new cases, we see a pretty steady incline. Seems like maybe it's inclining slower here, but it still seems uphill. So that's not looking good for New York. Illinois, we're just still kind of starting, unfortunately. You can see this exponential shape here. Not good. Again, I don't know if today's numbers are complete. I'm a little worried they're not. It's probably better to look back at the last 3 or 4 days, because you can see a little trend rather than this might be one spike and then we might be down here tomorrow. We don't really know. Or it might be one spike and then we're even higher the next day. That would be exponential, would probably look like Sunday up here. Again, hopefully not. So I think you get the idea. You can look through these graphs. You can see our numbers. We're really still on the increase here. And so Kankakee County, the last one I'll look at. Because our numbers aren't quite as big, it's a little harder to tell. You can see this is really 0.1 thousand. So that's really, okay, so let me think this through. 1,000 here, that would be 1K. And so 0.1K would be 100. And I think that makes sense. There's 58, I believe, in Kankakee County today. And so the question is, what did these other graphs look like when they had 58 cases? And you can see worldwide 58 cases. We have no idea. It's a little blur down here. If we go into New York, this is 20,000 right here. So 0.1K is clear down here. Like you can't even see it, like even if we zoomed in. So we don't really have a good idea what's happening here. So to predict Kankakee County, and obviously we don't have the population that New York or whatever would have. So it's a little harder, but we do see, again, quite a growth here. We see the new cases kind of jumping here, but overall trending up. And so I will leave that up to you to submit for your prediction here. Cumulative cases of COVID worldwide, May 1st, and then cumulative cases of COVID for the U.S., May 1st. I hope you enjoy this project I have.